Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are ready for more Minneapolis riots, and maybe it'll spread across the country, just in time for the November election. Chauvin, the officer involved in the killing of George Floyd, has posted $1 million bond, and the Department of Corrections confirmed he was no longer in custody at the state's facility in Oak Park Heights, where he had been detained. That's it. That's the news. We've got some opinion around this as to what this might mean or what's coming in the future. But let me just tell you right off the bat, when this story broke, and it's breaking, just about now, the speculation is that, while normally people wait for the verdict, this may result in mass rioting. Simply the news that this man is being freed on bond. Why? Well, the left is going to argue the man should be remanded without bond. He should remain in prison because they assume him guilty. That's all that matters. And I will also add that many of these people who are rioting seem to riot for anything. We're at that point. In Chicago, when we saw this mass rioting a couple months ago, the looting and the rioting was over the fact that some guy was shooting at cops and they shot him in the shoulder. So they lied and they went out and they rioted. I think we actually might see a riot just because the news broke. And that's the most important issue, I guess, is how the media is driving a lot of this. The question is, why is it that people will riot when a verdict comes in, but then we start seeing riots for seemingly any reason? And why is the AP and many other outlets reporting that this guy has been released from custody? There's no real other developments in the story. Well, the story goes beyond just this, at least what I want to talk to you about. Spike Lee suggests civil war is coming. This mother effer is not going to leave. I know, cue the memes, Tim Pool talking about civil war. I think it's the only real thing that the left can kind of criticize me on is that I've done, maybe, I don't know what, like a dozen or so videos talking about civil war. Maybe all across the board, a couple dozen out of 5,800. I think I've done like 5,800 video segments, different segments, and a couple dozen might have included the term civil war. And that, of course, results in, isn't Tim Pool crazy? Yeah, I hope I'm nuts. Maybe y'all are living a normal life playing video games every day, and you turn on Crackpot Crazy Tim, just sitting there ranting about the civil war that's about to come. I would love that. But like I always mention, I'm not just making it up. Spike Lee said it. Y'all gonna go complain about Spike Lee talking about it? Tom Friedman of the New York Times said it was gonna happen on Anderson Cooper's show. What do you want me to say? The Atlantic, The Guardian, they're all saying it's going to happen. So maybe I'm the crackpot. I would gladly accept that. Well, Spike Lee, left-wing Hollywood director and activist, launched into an unhinged diatribe in a recent interview in which he suggested President Trump won't leave the White House if he loses the November election and could spark a civil war. No, I'm sorry, Breitbart, you're wrong. That's not unhinged. Donald Trump is probably not going to leave the White House. I'm not suggesting that Trump is going to lose the election and then refuse to leave. I'm suggesting there won't be an election. I know. Cue crazy crackpot Tim Pool. By all means, call me whatever you want. Call me whatever you want. Because I hope I'm wrong. But I think what we're going to see is the red mirage. Donald Trump's going to win in a landslide on election day. Democrats are going to be overwhelmingly disqualified. I was thinking to myself, and I've got another segment coming up on this. Why is it that they know the ballots are broken and all these disqualifications are happening, but the Democrats would push this anyway? Could it be that Donald Trump wins and then the Democrats are the ones who challenge and they say, look at all these disqualifications. It's not fair. We really won and Donald Trump won't leave. And if Spike Lee is saying this, they're not going to accept the results of the election. Why? They didn't accept the results in 2016. If Spike Lee is coming out and saying Trump will lose but won't leave, what do you think is going to happen when Trump wins so he doesn't leave, but they say, no, he lost. We won the popular vote. This is unfair. Civil war. This could be civil war, Spike Lee replied, when asked by Variety where the country is heading. And we got to come out and vote because this mother effer is not going to leave. And he'll say that the vote was invalid or rigged. He's doing that already. He's laying the groundwork to say the election is bogus. You know what I love the most about this? Is all the people who never care, don't pay attention, have no stake in the game, are now acting like all of a sudden it's the end of the world. Dude, you were sitting around playing video games for the past several years. What are you doing? By all means, I'm glad people are getting educated and now taking interest in politics for sure. But don't lie to me and pretend like you actually care about this. Elsewhere in the interview, Lee smeared President Trump over his election slogan, "Make America Great Again." "Roll back the clock," the Malcolm X director responded. "If it was up to him, I'd be singing. Let my people go. I'd be singing spirituals." I can't say the other word. "Wade in the water," all types of stuff, along with stealing the land from Native Americans and genocide. That's how his country was built. This country was built. In August, Lee expressed concerns that if the presidential election was too close to call, Trump would opt against leaving office. Yeah, I think he will. I think if the election is broken and there's no clear results, Trump's going to say no. I mean, what's he supposed to do? Should Trump be like, well, the election never happened, so I'm just going to give up power to those people who rigged it? What would you prefer? And that's why Spike Lee's not unhinged. He's just wrong. But his assessment of what's to come, I think, is actually on point. I view it this way. Look, I'm going to be voting for Donald Trump. And I think a lot of people aren't going to be voting for Donald Trump. I think if Trump wins, I'm going to be satisfied that Trump won. If Trump loses, I'll be upset. And that's about it. If Trump wins, the left will claim he didn't win. If there's no clear results, no one knows who won. I do not think it would be right for Trump to cede power to the far leftists and to the Democrats who staged it all from the beginning, who pushed for the mail-in voting that broke the system. I think Trump should. Actually, I think he should stay until we can have a Supreme Court ruling or something happens. I know the Democrats are probably hoping that Donald Trump just says, well, there's no clear winner, so I'm out. And then what? Nancy Pelosi becomes president? We can't have that. Now, look, I said I think, Trump should stay, but I also think ultimately we don't have a clean solution. The left is going to say, no, it's Pelosi. Give up the power to the party that staged it in the first place? That's equally as bad. So I don't know what you do. I really don't. But I want to show you something I find pretty fascinating. It's kind of like an end of the segment. You guys remember Ken Bone? He was that famous dude who was wearing the red sweater back in 2016. And he became this famous personality considered to be like an everyman. Here's what he tweeted. I voted Clinton in 2016. And this morning, I sealed my mail-in ballot having voted for Joe Jorgensen. I don't agree with either of them 100%, but felt they were the best options available to me at the time. In response, this user, Lynn Slattery, says, hi, Ken Bone. You've shared that energy policy, student debt, and foreign policy matter a lot to you. Would you share why Jorgensen aligns best with your concerns? And he said, the number one she has going for her is foreign policy, in my view. I don't want America to keep spending our blogs and treasure to be the world police, especially when it comes to forcibly changing regimes of other nations. The next response. So in other words, you threw away your vote and inadvertently voted for Trump. Cool story. He said, I live in Illinois. If it goes red, I will sign the deed to my house over to you. Keep voter shaming, though. It's great for democracy. You know what's really funny about this? And trust me, it's connected. Is anybody saying, so basically what you're saying, Ken, is that by voting Jorgensen, you're basically voting for Biden because now you're throwing your Trump vote away? No, nobody's saying that. This guy voted for Clinton, so I guess that's their insinuation. But how insane is it that they are attacking him? And what did Ken say? All morning, the Trump supporters have been nice to me, even though I don't like Trump. The Biden camp has been essing all over me because I don't like Biden. Do these people really not see how much this behavior pushes bystanders towards the right? My response to Ken is always vote for who you think is best, and your vote will never be wasted. If you vote for the lesser of two evils, you have wasted your vote. My vote for Donald Trump, which is presumably at this point going to Donald Trump, I'm saying that because, who knows? I don't know. Maybe something happens before the election, is because he banned critical race theory. It's because he's pulling our troops out of the Middle East. It's because he signed these peace agreements. And I think he did a great job on the economy. And I actually think he's the right choice. Joe Jorgensen isn't. And many of these other candidates, in my opinion, are not. I wouldn't waste my vote. I never would. But I have tremendous respect for Ken Bone for who he chooses to vote for. And, I have friends who say they're voting for Joe Jorgensen. And I would never say, so you're basically voting Biden then because, shut up. You got to vote for who you believe in. And that is never a wasted vote. And if Joe Biden wins because of it or whatever, I'm not going to cry about it. I'll be disappointed. I'll be worried. And I'll take care of myself. That's ultimately what it's about. I love this response. Tony Pazinski says, yes, I usually make political decisions on who is nice to me on Twitter and not policies. Burp, 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 burp. Ken Bone is right. And this is the point I'm making. The animosity, the anger, the rage, the violence isn't coming from the right. It doesn't matter who Ken chooses to vote for. He's pointing out that he said he didn't like Biden, and the Biden supporters went insane and attacked him. So when it really does come to the Civil War spike, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the right that's going around attacking people. It's been Antifa and Black Lives Matter. The threat is the left. It's been the left the whole time. Now, there are threats from the far right in terms of sporadic and high-tier violence. That's scary. That's what the FBI is for. In terms of sustained violence, disruption, insurgency, that's the left. But let me tell you one more thing. People don't make decisions based on who's nice to them. Tony, please pay attention to this one. They get ideas from people. And if you're too busy spitting in someone's face and a Trump supporter is saying, hey, Ken, good for you, man. I'm proud that you're standing up for what you believe in. Let me ask you about the foreign policy thing you mentioned. Don't you know that Trump is signing these peace agreements? He'll say, I didn't consider that. And so you've got a really good chance of getting Trump in and ending these endless wars. To me, I think that makes the most sense. If you think Joe Jorgensen across the board is better, then, by all means, do your thing. And then we'll have a cheers and we'll drink, and maybe he'll consider what I said. If you approach him and spit in his face and slap him in the face and scream, you bigot, you moron, he has no idea what your policy positions are. It's not about who's nice to you. It's about who's talking to you. And they're not. But I'll leave it there. I got a couple more segments coming up in just a few minutes. Stick around, and I will see you all shortly.